My name is Mukhit Khan, and I am a senior full stack developer at a B3 Consulting Group. Today, I will be talking about Java, Java then, Java now, and going forward. This presentation I have divided into three parts. So, this would be the first part where I would be talking about some history of Java, and we would be looking at OpenJDK, LTS version or versions. We would be also looking into a Java ecosystem survey, and this survey was conducted on the 2019, this last quarter of 2019, and with the participants, 2000 participants from different conferences. So let's begin. Let's begin with a question. Java turns 25, aging like milk or the wine. If this question was asked 10 years before, like in 2010, I would have responded it in a different way. Because that was the time where it was very unclear what was going on with the Java language. You were frustrated as a developer because you wanted to work with Java, but there was nothing coming out. Do you remember? We would be looking into a chart as well. We would be going through different versions. But let me recap you. It was a time when Java 6 was released in 2006, and we were still expecting a new release from Java, but nothing was happening. And it was a time when Oracle took over. So if this was a question that was asked 10 years before, I was not positive about it. I would say milk, like aging like milk, because if the milk source goes bad, so does the recipe, so does the project in terms of Java. So I'm having a great expectations from Java, especially with the new 6 months release cycle and the features that have been coming, and that we could actually as a developer preview those features. I think that's great. I think previously there were a lot of people who were more into Java, who were in the Java community. They could actually only get to see, but it's like I see that now an average developer also doing his job and also getting more involved in the features coming from Java. So, and probably discussing more, and the feedback loop is good. So I have a good expectations with the coming versions. Let's go to the next slide. 25 years of Java. Happy anniversary. Java 15 was released 3 days back. Today is 18th of September 2020. So 3 days back it was released. So a lot of congratulations to all the people who have been working so hard with Java, the whole Java community. Congratulations to them for making it to the Silver Jubilee. As I said, looking forward for the coming years with Java. Let's move to the next slide. A short history of Java. 1995 came the first version, and then you can see that every 2 years came a subsequent version every 2 years until 2006. And there happened something between 2006 2011, 5 years, no Java releases. People were frustrated, were working with Java. Many conclusions have come out during that period. People started saying that okay, this is the end of Java, it's dead, it's like the COBOL of the 21st century. By the way, COBOL is still being used a lot. So it's the COBOL of the 21st century, and everything negative about Java. But in subsequent years, Like when I think the major contribution came to Java in the form of Java 8. There you had the big changes that made it more beautiful and more uh, fun to work with lambdas, with strings, with optionals, and then subsequent versions has worked more on these enhancements, and they have become really good. Uh, and the module system in Java 9, and so for smaller devices also. So it has made a tremendous work in these years, and now we have Java 15 as well. So a lot has been gone from 2000, and this is the period between 2006 and 2011 that negotiations started with Oracle took over Sun Microsystems in 2010. So this is a short history of Java. And by the way, we will be looking also about OpenJDK. Yes, now OpenJDK. So the OpenJDK was an effort by Sun Microsystems, and it came into existence in 2006 as Sun Microsystems promised that it would make the Java open source and it would not push people towards Java trap. They did it as per their promise, and then they open sourced under the GPL license, GNU GPL. So OpenJDK is the one that governs the Java programming language. Today, it is under the Oracle. Oracle maintains the OpenJDK project. And let me tell you one thing: when you actually look up for OpenJDK, please make sure that you read the latest articles, because it can be a little bit misleading, because there was a difference between OpenJDK and Oracle JDK. The difference is very minimal today. There is almost no difference at all except the licensing terms. So make sure that you read the article, you see the date of the article when it's written. So there is very small differences, and the hotspot was is a part of OpenJDK. As I said, the commercial features have been like the flight recorder that was in the Oracle JDK, Java Machine Control, application class data sharing, Z garbage collector. They are now a part of OpenJDK as well. So they is very identical from Java 11 onwards, and the build process for a Open Oracle JDK is based on that of OpenJDK. So Oracle JDK is free for personal use, but OpenJDK is free both for personal and for commercial use. And OpenJDK also will be having the LTS versions. We will be seeing what LTS is, but I think I can actually explain it over here as well. The LTS version is the long-term support version. You could see the LTS versions in other languages. Like for example, if you're working with Node, you can also see that there is a current version and there is an LTS more stable version. But here when it comes to Java, all the new releases are also stable. You are free to use it, but as soon as a new version comes, they will not be getting updates on the older versions except the LTS versions. Like L8 is declared LTS, 11 is declared LTS, and then 17 is declared LTS. So if you are on Java 10, then when Java 11 comes, then Java 10 will not be getting any updates. Yeah, that's the thing with the LTS versions. And when it comes to OpenJDK, there are a lot of implementations under OpenJDK. I have only selected few of them here that are the most famous ones, like the Adopt OpenJDK. I personally use Adopt OpenJDK in my current project. We use Java 8. I have been, depending on the client, I have been switching between 8 and 11, and currently I'm working on with Java 8, and we use JDK build from Adopt OpenJDK. I don't see any difference in the performance when compared to Oracle JDK, and there shouldn't be any performance difference as well. There might be some tuning and stuff like that, but yeah, when you're working with the smaller applications, then you don't see. Amazon, who have a lot of cloud applications running Java, they have their own implementation or the build. It's called the Amazon Corretto, and they are the ones who are also contributing a lot to the Java community. And then yeah, let's see in the next slide about this matrix over here about the build and the LTS and the commercial support. Amazon Corretto is not offering the commercial support, but they have the support for the LTS, which means that they will be also contributing and pushing changes as soon as it gets from OpenJDK down the line downstream to Amazon Corretto as well. But Adopt OpenJDK has the commercial support as well. So the big organizations, they can either go for, when they have decided to pay for the support, they can either go for the, like the banks, they can go for the Oracle support, or they can also choose depending on what suits them better. One recommendation is, if you are not willing to update every 6 months, then you better stay with the LTS versions, because as I said, explain, like if you can't keep up to the pace, then it's not recommended to stay on the intermediate versions like the 9, 10, 12, 13. Here is a question and you often get from people, and also it's quite popularly asked on the net. If I stay on OpenJDK 8 or 11, do I have to pay to get security and bug fixes? And the answer is not necessarily. Oracle works with OpenJDK community, and important patches will be selectively backported to the LTS version. This has been working over for a decade, from 6 to 7. You then have the choice of taking downstream OpenJDK based libraries from a variety of providers for free as well. So all these you don't have to necessarily pay, basically. But if you want, you take example, for example, if you want, you can, if you take from Adopt OpenJDK, they offer the support. So you can get a special support as well. So if you have a special bug that needs to be fixed. Challenges when you keep up the whole upgrading to the latest version after the 8 I'm talking about, then you have some challenges like this. You have to keep up with the 6 months release cycle, and so you need to decide on the strategy that you would be following. Either you would stick to the 6 months release cycle, or you would actually stick to the LTS version. So there is a commercialization of Oracle JDK licensing. This is the big questions that needs to be answered in the organization. You have dependencies to the other applications. You might be using some APIs that you're not supposed to be using, that are become internal APIs. Some things have been removed in Java 9, 10, 11. So there's some challenges like this. And also the ecosystem. It's not about your application, where you're deploying the application, how you're building the application, and that all ecosystem also needs to be taken care. And the value that you would be getting after all this, you have to come in with an agreement with your management. You have to make them convinced that this is the way to move forward. I would just want to emphasize on this. That's why I have written a note here that you're not required to create modules to have your code running on Java 9 or later. You can still go adopt your upgrade to Java 9 and slowly transition from unnamed modules to modules, because everything counts as unnamed modules. There is a module in Java 9 which would take everything, it's backward compatible, and it would say it's as unnamed module. If you go into more details, then you would understand about this one. So there's a lot of code, as I said, that has been actually related to JWE that has been removed. So you need to make sure that you try to find alternatives, or you add modules you can use to still be able to compile and run with the old, so it's backward compatible. And then some internal APIs that you might be using that you need to. So the new module system has a stronger encapsulation. If I have to say something about the recent changes, I would say that they are not as revolutionary as Lambda, streams, and optional, but there are a lot of small changes, except the modules, which is a big change. So there's a lot of small changes that are, uh, like helps in code readability. It's might be small syntactical stuff, but they make a huge difference. And now look at the Java ecosystem report that I was talking about. So I will make a switch now to the ecosystem report, and let's see here I have the report. Let's start with the question one. Which Java vendor JDK do you currently use in the production for your main application? So there are a lot of people still using Oracle JDK, but some people have moved to OpenJDK from Adopt OpenJDK, and I actually am a part of this 24%, and the 15% use the OpenJDK from Oracle. But you can see that the transition is going on from 2008 to 2019. A lot of people have stopped using Oracle JDK and have started using other distributions. So this is very clear that the people are moving towards, because they don't want to pay. Are you currently paying a vendor for JDK support? A lot of people are not paying. It's only 9% that are paying, and I think the figure would be something like that, like this in the future as well. Like when people actually learn more about how this OpenJDK and how the licensing works, and how what's the difference between OpenJDK and the other implementations and Oracle JDK, then more people would be confident in using this OpenJDK builds. Who do you pay? If I were to pay, I would pay Oracle. This is what most people actually answered here, 55%. Did the support and the release cadence changes since Java 9 affect your decision to pay for Java support? 23% has said this yes, and yes to some extent, more 18%. And if you may add this up, 23 plus 18, it's like 41%, 44%. So it's like almost 50-50. So it has affected definitely. So more on the people who said that it's not affecting them. Do you consider paying for JDK support in future based on the latest release cadence? A lot of people said no, they won't actually be paying for JDK support in the future. This is also because, like more people, as I said, when they understand how it works and what's the difference, and when they feel confident running their applications, testing, and then the more people would be adopting for the OpenJDK distributions. Which Java SE version do you use in production for your main application? Not surprisingly, it's still Java 8. I too use Java 8, and the quarter of the quarter of the people actually use Java 11. So if you are using Java 8, you are not alone. What are the reasons why do you have not moved to more recent versions? 51% say that the current setup just works fine, and the 30% say that they can't get the business to agree to migrate. It's also because everything is working fine, so why would the business would like to put the money, and the cost of migration is so all these are related. What is your approach to adopting new JDK releases in production? Many people agree that they will be staying with the long-term support. As I said, that it's if you're not willing to go with the latest version, it's better to stick with the LTS versions. 11% say that they will always stay on the latest version of Java. It is quite interesting. How well do you understand the 6 months release model and updated support statements made? Looks like a lot of people understand in this survey. They at least they do understand. I think also because these people who have been to these conferences are the ones who have not the ones making the decisions, but they are the one who is impacting these decisions, or the architects, the lead developers. So I bet they understand this 6 months release cycle, and the answer that they have given previously also, how confident they feel about the OpenJDK and how confident they feel about staying with the LTS version. It looks like it's more of the senior people who have been answering. How quickly do we apply critical JDK security patches? On the right, you see that it's a bit scary to see 17% they say that they don't apply. But a lot of people, like 61% apply in a month, and then rest in 6 months. What is the main JVM language do you use for your application? Still Java. A lot of people use Kotlin, and this one would I see that this would slowly increase in the future. A lot of people would be going for Kotlin. At least in the coming years, you could actually compare and see. Let's see if there is something else that's more important. Are you using or planning to use Java modules in your Java applications? 64% say that they won't, they are not planning in the near future to use the Java modules. As I said, you can still move forward without using the Java modules. But for the new applications, it could be a good start to use the Java modules. So 64% say that they are not planning, and yeah, to 30% almost. How easy was it to adapt to Java modules? This is also 50%. Like it was not hard, not easy to adopt. And with this one, I would say that this is the end of my presentation. This, as I said, this is the first part of my presentation, and I would be looking into the second parts. Would be also coming out soon with the second and the third part. So please comment, please give me feedback, and also look in the channel. I would be publishing the other parts as well. Thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.